Welcome to BofC Live, the daily video and podcast series of Business of Cannabis. BofC Live highlights the companies, brands, people, and trends driving the global cannabis sector. Learn more at businessofcannabis.ca. Our guest today is Joel Darichuk. He's the General Manager of 314 Pure Cannabis. He's also the co-chair of the Advisory Committee for the Mount Royal University Cannabis Education Program. Joel Darichuk, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jay.
Well, I'm excited because you are the General Manager of 314 Pure Cannabis. You are a producer in Alberta. That I like all of those things mushed together, and I want to hear a little bit about it because you also have a brand that you have out called Pool Boy. Tell us a little bit about 314 Pure Cannabis, and then we'll get into sort of the other reason that we're talking to you.
314 Pure Cannabis is a privately owned and local Alberta, basically producer. We got our licensing back in August 2019. And we are, I consider us a small batch custom grower because our grow rooms are quite small. They're not large open greenhouse spaces. They're very controlled. We control our environment really closely to match the cultivar and batches of strains that we are producing. So it's kind of customized to it. So we started off with in a small town, Crossfield, which is a very accommodating town, and we like the ruralness of our product. It also gets where we have a lot of local employees from the area, which is nice. A lot of good diversity, and we have a background that we push on for our cannabis, and our growing method is all fully hydroponic, fully LED. We recycle our water, we reuse our products. We're trying to get as energy efficient as possible. And that starts from the growing phase right all the way through to our packaging.
I love it. That's a good story. We should end now because that's pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a really good story. And give us a sense, because I'm in Toronto, and while I have been to Alberta, not too lots of small rural towns. Tell me exactly where it is in Alberta.
Crossfield, Alberta is only about a 25-minute drive north of Calgary. It's just off of the main highway of Queen Elizabeth Highway. So it's a good little rural town. I think the population is just over 2,000 or 2,500. So it's a small town, right? So we do make an impact in the town, which is good, and we are pushing our positiveness towards the community as well. The big push is again, as a local grower and a local provider, all of our products, all of our packaging, everything is local, even from our bags to our hard cases are all within 50 miles of us. That is all being produced.
I love it. And I want to talk about that because you are also the co-chair of Mount Royal University Continuing Education Cannabis Education Program. I'm also on the advisory committee as well, but you are doing much more work because you are the co-chair. And I want to talk about that because unlike me, but certainly you are seeing the direct impact of folks who need that sort of continuing education to get the skills they need to work at 314. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that is like very rubber meets road, and I want to hear sort of that story from your perspective.
Well, it's a pivotal key to make sure that we're connecting in this very young industry, right? It's a very young and still developing industry with highly regulated, right? So as we push, it's understanding education, understanding the need that LPs across Canada that will require, right? And in the beginning, you have a lot of people with what we call experience, right? Experience with cannabis, experience with growing, and you're looking at someone who likes to grow a couple plants or have a hobby, but actually putting the Health Canada regulations together with what the requirements are needed is something that we just need more of, and more validity to the industry itself instead of a bunch of rumors. What is an educated way of putting ahead our staff, and the industry itself. So when we look at the totality of what education and what the program brings to the industry, it brings validity. It brings, basically, you have much more educated, well-rounded, open-minded people. So they don't just think of, I learned this from my one grow friend, or a person that I know that grows this can do this. They actually listen to an instructor that gives you a wide variety across the spectrum of the industry, which gives, you get a more well-rounded individual that you're going to be hiring. As well as when you're sitting with high regulatory conditions at Health Canada, it's constantly changing as well. So the education is something that has to be always reinvented and then reestablished with the students as well as the industry.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've had on a series of conversations, not only with the folks from MRU, but we also talked to Amber Craig from the sort of retail side and the marketing side. We talked to Serena Donovan about her micro cultivation facility and sort of what she brings to both that facility and her business, but also what she's learned from MRU. But I also think there's some through lines in that a lot of people joining the sector bring what they have to the sector, right? They either have these really stringent marketing backgrounds and now they need to apply it to cannabis, which has a different lens of how marketing should be done. People have sort of the home grow mentality or like the legacy grow mentality, needed to bring it to a regulated framework and working for a company like yours. Serena took sort of her passion and what she knew about and wanted to apply it to cannabis on her farm. And I think it's interesting to sort of using MRU and continuing education as the sort of frame to like get people from the jobs they have or the framework they have into the regulated industry, whatever that may be. It sounds like it's super valuable because it does, it instructs on the framework in which everybody's operating. It sort of brings rigor to it. Everybody's on a playing field that they sort of understand, but also understand within that things change. But if you know that it's going to change going into it, you can actually learn as you go.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
All of our the employees we look at and we kind of vet out is the other factor is that they're taking there's a lot of passion. There's a lot of passionate people in the industry, and guiding that passion in the right direction, in a correct direction, is pivotal on building a really strong core team or leadership. Yeah,
it really is. It's very compelling. Like we've talked to, obviously I mentioned the folks we talked to, but it really is this, it's only going to grow in need, right? There are going to be people across the country that can access MRU's program because it's taught digitally. And like the idea that you could really level up your skills, level up your knowledge and become really in demand from people like you becomes, there are, you tell me, I guess, are there folks that you are looking for in particular that would serve your needs because, as you grow, it's like the quality assurance or people who know the regulations or people who know the plants or like understanding how to like grow hydroponically and what that might mean as you sort of scale larger. Like talk a little bit about that because it is those skills that I think are going to be in such high demand over the next years.
The courses that are developed at Mount Royal is very pivotal to like QA, QAP. There's so many different divisions of that comes more and more stringent. And the nice thing is also I'm finding that the MRU and even the graduates and the staff that are in it, it becomes a community of soundboarding even after the course is completed, which is a big factor of that, which is a very positive thing in the industry. Facility maintenance and management of understanding the facility, understanding the lighting and energy consumption and all those factors go into so many different levels of management and operations. All those little factors, in this industry where it's pennies per gram can make a deal or not. Pennies per gram and pennies per kilojoule of energy is in the same basis. So each of those pieces come together. I'm hoping to see more and more courses develop as the industry expands. But the one piece that I'm really happy about is the factor of community. And after a course is done, it's not like click, you're done, you're out. People are communicating. They're actually bouncing their ideas back and forth, and they're feeding off of that. in a very positive, non-competitive, because this industry is quite large and it's still growing. And to me, I like that feeling of support that you're getting from your classmates, your instructors across the board.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's like any sort of institutional higher learning. It is the networking of that group and that cohort with the cohorts that they're joining sort of out in the world, along with the sort of staff and advisory board. Like, it really becomes this community, which will become, you could probably trace the tentacles of the people that have been trained and where they are and where they're going. And it's not just in Calgary, it's not just in Alberta, but around the country. And that is exciting to sort of watch develop. And we're going to be talking about it actually in a couple of weeks on the 24th of February. We're doing a program about cannabis workforce training with MRU and the continuing education program specific about this, because I think that is the part that is, of course, you will get trained. You will also, have a better chance of finding the jobs with folks who are looking for trained people, but also the people that you're in school with, the people that are teaching you, the advisory group, and the people that are out in the world from the program ahead of you and behind you will also be sort of your community that you're going into this sort of cannabis industry with. Yeah. I like that a lot. Joel, I hope we can have you back on Business of Cannabis Live, because I do like the idea of sort of checking with you, not only about MRU related stuff, but also sort of about how 314 is growing and building an accessing market and what you learn in an ongoing way. Because as you said, it's like every day is different, everything is changing, but it is good to see sort of the growth and evolution of the sector through your eyes. Yeah.
And as a small, I consider us a small producer right now, and as we grow, we see the mistakes, and we see the positiveness of what certain industries do and certain groups do, and I think the feedback back and forth, it kind of helps the others step up. I know I look forward to a lot of the micro producers and micro cultivators that are coming out, because some of the strains that they're developing are just amazing. Right? So.
It's like, and I think that's the really exciting part, sort of where we are, let's say beginning of 2021, because I think we're just now, certainly you've been there in Alberta, but around the rest of the country, like a real retail environment where people can access great products, but also great products filling those shelves from smaller producers like you, micro producers, even smaller than you, but like that variety of what consumers are demanding and seeing it at scale is just, well, that's super exciting, even from a consumer perspective, but from an industry perspective too.
Well, and the big thing is that the industry is starting to really now feel the trust that the regulatory gives and the people that support that in there. So, even my staff, they know when they read something, it is what it's going to do. It's that's a very strong thing that has to build over time. And it's gonna build and keep building. And as quality product comes out, as quality people fill the industry, as the quality of the education of those people come into play, it all is a factor that makes it into a stronger, more sustainable industry.
Yeah, well, Joel, I really hope we can make this the first, not the last conversation. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you for your work at Mount Royal University on the advisory committee as well. And we'll check in with you down the road.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joel. Our work is made possible with the ongoing support of our official partners, including Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmarks, Can Delta, Gallagher, and Torque & Mains.